tried to tell y'all. I tried to tell y'all this is the most dysfunctional franchise in the NFL, and I'm gonna explain why. What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're gonna talk some football, Houston Texans football. Today we're gonna talk about the Houston Texans and they search for a head coach, and why is this franchise continuously doing the same thing over and over and over again. Before we get in there, like I've been telling you on the last couple of videos, the goal is to reach 5K, 5,000 subscribers. We reached that. I'm doing a special giveaway. Trust me, you want to be a part of it. You don't want to miss it. But the only way to be a part of it is to get the channel up to 5K, 5,000 subscribers. It's the race to 5K, 5K. We doing the giveaway. There you go. Boom. We get 5K. I'm doing a special giveaway, but we gotta get the 5K first. Also, hit the links in the description. Follow me on all social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter. The links in the descriptions right there. Also, we giving away 30 days free of Amazon Prime, but you gotta hit those links in the description. You sign up for Amazon, you get 30 days free Amazon Prime, but you gotta sign up in the links in the description. So go ahead, go in the description and do that for me. Now, let's talk about it. Let's get into the Houston Texans. Now, the Houston Texans that we all know got rid of David Culley last week. And in typical Texan fashion, they're going out there searching for head coaches. And this is what I'm about to say about the Houston Texans being the most dysfunctional franchise in the NFL because they do things completely unconventional. I know people out there talking about, what about the Jacksonville Jaguars? What about the Cleveland Browns? What about the Detroit Lions? They've been trashed and been sorry for decades. So y'all getting confused with success and dysfunction. Yes, those three franchises have been horrible for the past 10 to 15, 20 years plus. I understand that. Well, maybe a good year here there sprinkled in. I understand that. I'm not talking about that. I'm not debating who has a better record or franchise wins the most games or been to the playoffs and things like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this function of what is this organization doing, how they go about and how they conduct their business. And the Texans don't conduct their business in a normal fashion, and they do things completely out of the ordinary unnecessarily. And the things continue to go on today because these are Texans. First, you know what I'm saying, we've talked about the three top candidates. We talked about Brian Flores, who got fired from the Miami Dolphins. We talked about Josh McDaniels. We know the connection, the patriotism, and then also probably somebody who I think is the leading candidate to get the head coach job, in my personal opinion, is Gerard Mayo. Gerard Mayo, the special teams, linebackers coach for New England Patriots, former New England Patriots linebacker, now linebackers coach. I think he's the head. To me, my personal opinion, he's the person who's leading the charge. I know a lot of people out there reports are saying that it's probably Brian Flores and things like that. And I do think that Brian Flores being fired from the Dolphins does throw a monkey wrench into the situation. But I think the leader of the pack is Gerard Mayo. So, how do you feel about those? That makes, okay, cool, whatever. This is where the Houston Texans go into crossing lands. They interview Hines Ward on Friday to be the head coach. Hines Ward, former Steelers wide receiver, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl 40 MVP, if I'm not mistaken. He's right now the receivers coach of Florida Atlantic, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was a receiver coach for the Jets for 2 years. Of like 19 and I think 20. I think the 19 season and last year, the 2020 season, he was a receivers coach or something with the receivers for the New York Jets. Then they're talking about, is where it gets even more strange, that Josh McCown, former Texan Josh McCown actually, is somebody else they want to interview for the head coaching job. He's on their radar. Now, they interviewed Josh McCown last year for the head coaching job. The same organization who interviewed Tim Kelly last year for the head coaching job. The same organization that hired David Culley to be the head coach after being a assistant for 40 years, has never been a coordinator, things like that. Now, sometimes I do think that being an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, it gets overblown because we talk about people like Vrabel. Vrabel had 1 year experience in being being a DC. I mean, he was a linebackers coach. He had 1 year for the Texans being the DC before he got the job in Tennessee. And Tennessee hasn't looked bad. They're pretty happy. Vrabel might be coach of the year. I don't think that 1 year of him being the defensive coordinator basically gave him the green light and basically, okay, because he got that 1 year experience, that makes him a better coach. It'd be different if it's multiple years. I don't think that 1 year, but when you go 40 years plus without ever even being considered to be a coordinator job like David Culley was, there's the problem. He was never qualified or anybody wanted him to be the head coach. Not to mention he was a receivers coach, and his receiver unit was always one of the worst. I mean, 1 year when he was the receivers coach in Kansas City, they were the only receiving core that never scored a touchdown. Then his last year with the Ravens, receivers coach, the worst receivers in the NFL. They had the lowest yards of all receiver groups in the whole NFL. But yet this is the guy you give the head coaching job to. Again, they do everything completely unconventional because remember, it's also the same organization. It took somebody who's lied on their resume and Jack Easterby and let them run amok the franchise. That's what I mean by being dysfunction. I'm not talking about from a win-loss standpoint. I'm talking about from a hire standpoint and how they get around the hiring. Because I know what you're probably saying. Okay, Jacksonville, they hired Urban Meyer, and that was a complete debacle. I agree. It definitely was a complete debacle. But the difference is Urban Meyer is a multinational champion, and Urban Meyer was on the radar of other coaches. Like other organizations want to hire Urban Meyer. Now, was it a right decision? Absolutely not. Urban Meyer was a bust as a head coach. It was a bad decision. He was not fit for the NFL. But it was conventional. People understood why you would hire Urban Meyer. The Texans are going completely outside the box. Ain't nobody about to hire no damn Josh McCown. Ain't nobody about to hire no damn Hines Ward. Ain't nobody about to hire none of these dudes. Brian Flores, at the very least, was just a head coach last year. He was just a head coach last year. So he's going to be on somebody's radar. Josh McDaniels has been a head coach in the NFL. He's been an offensive coordinator for a long time. The Colts was trying to hire him a couple years ago. That's conventional. I even think Gerard Mayo, even though I think he started back. I just think he just started coaching in 2015 with the Patriots. 2015, 2017, something around there. Like, he hasn't been coaching with the Patriots that long, but it ain't like he just started a year ago either. I think Gerard Mayo, he might be a year or two early for his name getting thrown into the mix. Maybe next year, the year after, his name would get thrown into the mix in a more conventional standpoint. But I still think it's people that's more qualified. But when you're talking about Josh McCown and David Culley's and like I said, Tim Kelly's and Hines Ward's and things like that. These coaching searches and coaching interviews and eventual coaching hires and David Culley's just seems like a complete absolute joke. It just seems like a complete joke, a mockery, and this is horrendous. This coaching search that we do is horrendous. That's why I mean by this team being, this organization being dysfunctional. The way that they operating, not the result. Because, yeah, from a result standpoint, the Texans are not the worst team from a result standpoint. Jacksonville's back-to-back number one picks in the draft last year, now this year. The Lions have always been like that, even with or without Matt Stafford. They've made bad head coaching decisions. The Cleveland Browns made bad head coach decisions. But the Texans do that unconventionally when they don't have to. It's hard. It's bad enough. You make mistakes enough by hiring just a regular wrong coach like you hired Bill O'Brien. I don't think that was a dysfunctional situation. I think they just ended up hiring somebody who wasn't really the best coach for the job. That happens. But when you go all outside the box just to do it anyway, like hiring a David Culley, your general manager's listening to the team, listening to headset, calling the plays and calling timeouts and doing the other. That's dysfunction. That's dysfunctional. Your general manager he needs to be doing way more important shit than to be listening to the play call, helping the coach out, calling timeouts during the game, basically writing scripts for the coach, what the coach should say, should not say during the post game and during a post game interview and during the next day recap interview, a press conference. Yo, general manager and whoever is Jack Easterby is supposed to be doing should have to be doing more important stuff than what they're doing. But yes, still they don't because they want to continue to micromanage and do what they're doing right here. That's what I mean about this team and this organization being dysfunctional. So now, when it comes down to the head coach, like I said, I still believe that I think that Gerard Mayo is going to be the guy they end up hiring. I think to me he's the leader of the clubhouse. I think it's him. I think Brian Flores is second, and I think Josh McDaniels is third. In my personal opinion, this is me personally. Now I would like for them to go after Byron Leftwich. Y'all know I've been talking about Byron Leftwich for a long time, and now I got Ray Ray. Ray Ray's been hollering about Byron Leftwich as well. Shout out to my boy Ray Ray and everybody out there in Saw Sports. My boy Honcho, Wink, Wise, Trill, everybody out there. So Braylon, Hector, Tenny, everybody out there in Saw Sports. Speaking Wise, and shout out to Wise because Wise brings this up all the time. Wise is talking about with the Texans to go after D'Amico Ryans, former Houston Texans linebacker. He's now the DC of the San Francisco 49ers. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I know they didn't really have a good game against the 49ers. I think Kellen Moore is a better candidate. I think Kellen Moore, somebody you should be having somebody on your radar. Things like that. A Byron Leftwich, a Kellen Moore, a D'Amico Ryans, things like that. Those type of guys, I would like for those guys to get shots. I would like for that to happen. Gerard Mayo, I don't really know what to make about Gerard Mayo. I really don't. Only thing is he's a Patriot guy, and what are they trying to do? Oh, we already know what they're trying to do. Brian Flores, the talks is he's basically a Black Bill O'Brien. Just call it what it is. Call spade a spade. Fool. Look like a duck, a quack like a duck. It's a damn duck. And they saying he's like a Black Bill O'Brien. Did some research on him, and he also, he was a linebacker assistant and a special teams guy and office assistant here. But he also started his career out by being a scout. He was a scout and something with personnel. And he wanted some control over there in Miami. Rumor is that he's the one who was pounding on the desk for Deshaun Watson. So if he comes here, if he's basically the Black Bill O'Brien and he has a scout background, Nick Caserio would know this because Nick Caserio was the head scout over there in New England. Who's in charge if they did bring him over here? Like, is somebody delegating now? Are they going to allow somebody to do their job, or are they both going to be clashing and bumping heads type situation? Who knows? If they bring in Brian Flores, if Brian Flores is hired here, I believe that's the Texans' ploy of trying to find a way, or Nick Caserio rather, trying to find a way to keep Deshaun Watson. I think that's the only reason why they bring in Brian Flores. I think that's the only reason why they would hire Brian Flores because they really, I think that Nick will want Deshaun. Maybe Cal and Jack don't. I don't think Cal has a clue. I think Jack doesn't want him at all. Jack doesn't want Deshaun Watson nowhere in this organization. And I think Cal is just Cal. I don't know about Nick Caserio. If Nick Caserio hires Brian Flores, that tells me personally, I think that Nick Caserio does want Deshaun Watson here. That's what I think. I think he does want Deshaun Watson if he does happen to hire Brian Flores because I think, like I said, I think he preferred Gerard Mayo, and I think they're cool. He's cool with bringing in Josh McDaniels, and we haven't heard Josh McDaniels' name. Now the Patriots have been eliminated from the playoffs and lost to the Bills, so now they can go out there and get these interviews with Gerard Mayo and Josh McDaniels. The Texans have now interviewed Hines Ward and Brian Flores. So now they can make a hire because they ain't got the Rooney Rule out the way, which means all they do is interview two minorities. They nothing. They ain't got their two token minorities to interview. They can hire whoever they want to. They can hire a green cat if they want to. But remember we was hearing all these names and whoop, and who's the favorite? And this the contract. And then the 11 o'clock hour, Jackie to be swoops in, and Nick Caserio ends up being the general manager. I wouldn't be surprised if the same situation happens with the Josh McDaniels. We haven't heard Josh McDaniels' name that much outside of people like us talking, not really from a national standpoint. It's all been about Gerard Mayo and mostly Brian Flores and now Gerard Mayo. I wouldn't be surprised if at the 11 o'clock hour, the last minute gets swooped in, and Josh McDaniels just boom ends up being hired as the head coach. Because remember, we interviewed and hired Nick Casario the exact same day, like within an hour. I wouldn't be surprised if a situation like that happens with Josh McDaniels. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But I do think the leader in the clubhouse is a Gerard Mayo. I think they want to give Gerard Mayo that shot. I really do. I think the Gerard Mayo end up being the Houston Texans head coach. I think it's one of those three. I think it's out of Gerard Mayo, Josh McDaniels, and Brian Flores. I think it's out of those three. This is a dark horse. I'm pretty sure. I don't believe the Hines Ward. I don't believe the Josh McCown. Maybe they talking about maybe they bring them in, be some type of receiver coach or quarterbacks coach or something like that. I don't even see them because you got Pep. I don't see them bringing neither one of those guys in to be the OC or definitely the damn head coach. And I don't. I really don't. But again, this is the same organization that hired David Culley. It's the same organization, the same brain trust that hired David Culley. I didn't know who David Culley was until last year. Never on my radar. Never mentioned him. Never on my radar. So again, dysfunction, unconventional, thinking outside the box, way too much, proving I gotta prove I'm the smartest man in the damn room type of situation. That right there is why you see the frustration of what Deshaun had. Now, how he went about it, we could agree, disagree, whatever. Going about it the wrong way. But you see where the frustration lies. Especially when you're putting people's careers on the line of being champions and things like that. Hall of Fame careers or whatever. This doesn't make any sense. Someone explain this to me. Explain this to me. It's a $1 billion organization. Yes, you had somebody who fouled up because of his ego. You need to explain that as well. But yet still, when you get the task to try to fix it, this is how you fix it. Josh McCown. Tim Kelly. Those are your interviews. Hines Ward. I respect what Hines Ward done on the field. But come on, man. Like, to be honest, the person with the most experience is actually Brian Flores in this situation. Brian Flores coached he was a head coach for the Miami Dolphins for 3 years. I think, 24 and 25? Got 2 winning seasons? Josh McDaniels only had a year and a half as a head coach in Denver. I think only won 11 games. No, he started off 7-0. So like I said, Brian Flores has the most experience from a head coaching situation. Now, years of coaching it would be Josh McDaniels. He's been coaching for a long time in New England as an assistant, as an offensive coordinator. But but Brian Flores has longer NFL head coaching experience and actually won. I mean, the Dolphins won. They were 8 and 9, 8 of their last 9, won 7 in a row, lost to the Titans, and then ended the last game of the season and basically beat the Patriots. Basically make sure the Patriots are playing the Dolphins, playing the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo wildcard weekend, end up being their detriment, end up losing to them in the playoffs. Situations like that. Like, that's what Brian Flores was able to coach out. With, they won 10 games last year, going back and forth with McDaniels, or not McDaniels, but Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua this year. Tua and fucking what's that boy name? Jacoby Brissett, because Tua missed time. So he's showing you that he's able to win games. I'll give him that. Kind of Bill O'Brien is. I mean, Bill O'Brien went 9-7 a long time, so they got Deshaun Watson. So that's really a lot of similarities. Like I say, he's the black Bill O'Brien. That's what I've been hearing. And if you sit back and you look at the race, he has a lot of similarities. Not even just on the personnel and not on the personality, just the way the business is being constructed around Miami. Same kind of way the way it was constructed around him, Bill O'Brien here in Houston. Kind of a lot of the same similarities. Never know. Just kind of keep your eyes and your ears open. Speaking of keep your eyes and your ears open, make shout out to everybody there who y'all was able to check us out on Fox, Saw Sports. We took over. I said, in fact, the Fox 26. Hey, y'all gotta keep your eyes and your ears open. 2022. It's a lot of sauce dripping. Shout out to all my boys out there, Sauce Sports, the round table. Hey, it's a lot of sauce dripping. We dripping 2022. So y'all gotta keep your eyes and ears. Look, pay attention. Keep your eyes and ears open. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Comment below if you haven't. Click that bell, get more videos. I holla.